All right, it's the Jason Witten Show on Sports Radio 1310, The Ticket. And time to go football dork here for a second, Jason. I have to ask you about a scenario from that Houston game that I didn't quite dig up until our show last week was done. And that is the Roy Williams touchdown catch, the 63-yarder. And really, I think I learned this from Gary Kubiak last week in his press conference where he said, you know, that 63-yard touchdown, that's a run play for the Cowboys, and you can tell because everyone on the field is run blocking. I went back and I said, doggone, he's exactly right. Gerard's down there run blocking, Witten's down there, Austin's down there, and it's a case where I think you ran that play earlier in the possession as a run, but it's kind of an option for Romo. And him and Roy, I guess, have some unspoken indicator. Can you walk us through that situation? Because it looks like 9 of you think it is a run play to Marion.
Yeah, well, I mean, without making it too much detail of the dynamics of the football and the scheme and all that, I mean, basically, in every run play that we have, there is, if they get too many guys in the box, meaning they bring a safety down, right? I mean, it's the whole thing. Do they play
right
coverage? They play too deep, and there's only 7 guys in there. Basically, we have everybody accounted for. Now, when they get that 8th guy, whether it's strong safety, whether it's free safety, whether it's blitz a corner, I mean, there's a million different ways they can get that 8th guy in the box. You know, in theory, we can't account for that guy. I mean, you got the 5 linemen, tight end, fullback. That's 7 guys to block. So we have the ability to, when they do that, obviously that means it's man coverage on the outside, and if Tony feels like they get down in there too early, then there's different ways. You can run it to the opposite side, away from that guy, maybe, or you can throw a pass, or you can just run it and say, hey, let's see if this guy can make that tackle. You know, I mean, so there's all different schools of thought and across the league. You know, I think every team does it differently, and I mean, we do it differently throughout the course of the game. So on that one, you know, the thought process is on Tony's end, really don't have to tell these guys because the ball's coming out so quick. It's going to be hard to get called for a legal man down the field or anything like that because literally he's taking one step and throwing it. So, you know, just great execution on those two and really on Roy's part to take advantage of that man coverage and see what happens. So there's been other times we've done it and it's been an incomplete pass. It's been a catch for no gain. If you go back to Washington, there's a couple thrown out there to Dez pretty quickly where their corner comes up and makes a big play. So, you know, you hopefully that you trust that system, and over the long haul, you'll have more success than failures regarding those plays.
Okay, but just for the listener, one last little detail. Basically what you're saying is check the safeties. If they're too high, that's when you want to ground and pound a little more and make them respect your run more. And if it's one high, that's where you got a chance to they're sitting on the run and a chance to do things through the air a little bit. It's more complicated than that, but that's kind of a general principle that all offenses are looking to do, right?
Absolutely, and I think, you know, depending. I mean, obviously, when teams are defenses on the defense side of it, the thought process is, you know, I mean, they realize what the offense is thinking, right? And even if it's not a pass, I mean, teams simply can. Which side is that safety coming down to? Because most of the time it's a safety. I mean, occasionally you'll get a corner blitz, but that's, you know, pretty gutsy there, and he's kind of hitting it late to where, you know, if the ball is ran inside, I don't know if the corner can get it from out wide, you know. So whereas if the safety comes, they want to hide where that safety comes down, if he is coming down to get to a single high look, because they know, okay, they may throw the smoke out there to, like you saw, the quick pass out to Roy, or they may run opposite of us, or they might check to a pass or whatever. So they're kind of waiting. It's kind of a chess match between who can kind of guess when that snap count's going to be, so that we don't know as an offense which safety's coming down or if they are coming down. So,
right.
I mean, it's a game within the game, and there's some point that you say, hey, we don't care when that guy's coming down. We're going to run it and see if that guy makes a tackle, because if he is hiding it, man, maybe he doesn't hit it till late, he's still 9 yards off the ball, if that makes sense.
Right.
So also, like, you got to show them, hey, sometimes we'll run it when you're doing that, so that you can take advantage of it later.
Yeah, and even when they play, you know, that two safety look, I mean, we still throw out of that look. I mean, there's space there, you know, really for a tight end. I mean, you see it a lot, you know, over the middle, underneath stuff. It's not really down the field because those safeties are deep, but underneath stuff, there are holes there because you do have two safeties in the back and two corners up tight, so it leaves only three guys to cover a lot of ground in the middle of the field there. So you see a lot of that underneath stuff. If you look back at some of those teams that pride themselves in that Tampa 2 scheme, if you will.
Boy, I love this stuff. And then the other thing, I put some video clips of Felix together today, and all his big runs from 2009, all of his explosives, as you guys call them.
I'm impressed, Bob. We're taking it to the next level with this.
Well, I'm living it, and you can hold my hand through some of this stuff. So all 5 of his big runs last season, all 5 of them, you guys had 2 tight ends out there, and in 4 of them, you're in 22 personnel, which means 2 tight ends and 2 running backs, so Dion last season. And what that tells me is with Felix, they are stacking the line to stop your run in that 22. I mean, it's power versus power, but if he gets a crease, there's no one back there to stop him. So if he can break through that initial line, that's where that burst is, and that's where those home runs come from, right?
Absolutely. And just in general, most of the time, 22 personnel means, just look at the body frames. I mean, you're taking a receiver out, you put an extra tight end in, and so, I mean, you're getting bigger. Naturally, that says, more than likely it's probably more run than pass. We've had success over the last couple of years of passing the ball well out of 22 personnel.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, I mean, that's the thought process. When the other tight end comes in, you now get a 9-man box, so to speak, with both tight ends in there, and fullback and tailback, only one guy out wide. So, I mean, they obviously tighten that box up, and if you can get it outside, there are holes there. But I think one of the things that we understand with our personnel is the ability for all the guys to do different things, so it's not just, hey, Felix is the outside, toss guy, and Marion's the inside run guy, and, Miles is the deep ball guy, and Jason's underneath, or whatever it is. I mean, obviously there's some things that you're going to throw more deep balls to Miles than you are to me. I mean, just naturally your receiver's going to do that. But the ability to do all those different things obviously keeps the defense on edge and being able to execute it. And I think if you get back to it, I mean, you guys probably talked about it. I think we might have talked about it. Is, well, do you trust your run more? Do you not throw those passes? And so do you just say, hey, we're running it regardless. We're going to get our guys the running game going and trust our line and do that. And then it doesn't work necessarily all the time. And then you come back and you see it hit it against Roy and goes for 65, and you say, man, that was a run play. I mean, so there's
right.
The school of thought is you just got to trust that system and know that in the end, those guys are going to make plays. We're going to make execution, and that you're going to be okay because of that. And not try to do too much. Just trust it, and if you see that guy's coming down, you throw the quick pass. If you see that it's late, you stick with the run or whatever it is. You stay aggressive, and you guys have heard Jason Garrett say it. I mean, you stay aggressive with the way you think and the way you play. And hopefully in the end, that'll end up being a lot of execution and a lot of points and a lot of wins.
That's good stuff.
Love it.
Good Jason Witten show this week.
There we go.